Feedback Friday. It's Friday, February the 22nd, 2015. We're back. Damian Nelson sitting alongside that one, David Hero, and in this show, David.
Today's the 22nd.
Is it? It is the 20th. I'm looking forward to Sunday because it's Fastlane on pay-per-view. So I've got that date in my head.
Okay.
But in this show, folks, what we do is we talk about your comments, your feedback, if you will, submitted to us via our social media channels and our YouTube channel, which, of course, youtube.com/MaxSports. So, David, are you ready?
I am ready.
Are you ready to not get irritated at some feedback from our fans?
As long as they are respectful and educated, I have no problem with that. Of course.
Right. Yes, indeed. Let's
very
go to the
educated.
first one, comment rather, and this was in reference to our discussion about which company is actually number 2 right now. The question was, is it Ring of Honor or is it TNA Wrestling? And Michael Miner had this to say. I have to say, and I quote, I have to say I don't know about ROH being a number 2 spot because I go with Damian Nelson. They just started on Destination America. He's referencing TNA. For 2 weeks, I will give TNA about midsummer and see what goes first, because once midsummer comes up, there might be more fans to watch TNA. So I think TNA and Ring of Honor should be tied, but don't forget we have Lucha Underground and New Japan Pro Wrestling, so we will see what happens. But awesome show, guys. Keep up the good work. He was talking to me about that
Of
last
course
part.
he was, yeah. But first of all, Lucha Underground and New Japan don't count. That's niche market wrestling. That's not for the Joe Walmart wrestling fan.
New Japan's on a national cable network here in the States.
Right.
Now.
Of course, but it's a niche market. You're not going to get Joe Walmart to watch New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Is that the guy that was with John McCain?
Yes, it was the guy with John McCain. Ring of Honor. I honestly believe Ring of Honor is the number 2 company,
That's what we said.
in the nation. And, TNA Impact Wrestling, they just keep dropping the ball and kicking out of bounds half the times. That's their problem.
Speaking of dropping the ball, kicking it out of bounds, they kicked a 10-year veteran out of the company this week.
And it would. Okay, let's talk about that.
We're going to talk about that tomorrow on Prime Time. You want to tease?
No. But it's Feedback Friday. I'm going to give you
feedback.
Feedback
Friday.
So Samoa Joe tweets out
Samoa Joe gone from TNA Impact
that
Wrestling earlier this week.
he is leaving TNA Impact Wrestling.
He done left. He's gone.
Yes.
He's bouncing.
John Gaborick then tweets out.
Big Senior VP of Talent Relations.
Says no. We couldn't. Your contract expired, and we decided just to part ways. Okay.
There's 3 sides of every story.
Right. Then you get Taz wishing Joe the best of luck on Twitter, but then saying, I'm sad to see him go. Bad decision. And then you have Velvet Sky. Velvet Sky.
At Velvel Holler.
Says, Samoa Joe gone from TNA, Impact Wrestling isn't the same anymore. So you have, now of course Velvet is under contract right now, but you have your main announcer saying that his employer did bad business. Now, when WWE releases a talent, you don't see JBL or Michael Cole or Booker T or Jerry Lawler say, oh my gosh, they never should have let Alberto Del Rio go. Because you're the company
guy. They might get slapped.
Well, but you don't do that.
Right.
So that just shows you the business sense in the TNA office, that those things get to, get out.
We'll have more details on the Samoa Joe situation because there's a lot more to that story, the third side, if you will, tomorrow night on a brand new edition of the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time on My24 Milwaukee, and of course right here on YouTube as well, where we'll also have Be the Booker for WWE Fastlane, which is Sunday, the 22nd. On pay-per-view. Let's go to our next comment, which is, again, on the same lines of which company is number 2. This comes from a user by the name...
Are you serious?
By the name of Magna Carta. Now, let me preface this by saying this. I did, because I reviewed the comments that the intern selected, and I did tell you before we started this session, this taping, that nothing that was selected should incite you this week as it did last week, because you got hot about it. And now let's go to Magna's comment.
Please.
I'd like to apologize to you, David Hero, in advance. But, and I quote, Magna says, Hero is being very disrespectful. He is way out of touch. TNA has global appeal outside of the United States. That's why they fill arenas in Europe. They air in 120 different countries. Ring of Honor does not. TNA drew 517,000 viewers on Destination America this past week. Ring of Honor do not get those numbers at all. Judging by the Sinclair Broadcasting Weeklies, that is way more than ROH. Even Dave Meltzer said TNA was still number 2. And TNA sold out lockdown tapings, so they easily did over 2,000 people on all 3 nights. Pretty poor reporting from this show. Spike is gone. Cover TNA properly, or don't cover it at all, because your coverage on them is ridiculously unfair. I think that comment was brought to you by Wikipedia as well.
Here's the funny thing about it. When TNA goes overseas, those are bought shows by another promotion.
That also promotes those shows.
A local promoter says, hey, I'm going to give TNA Impact Wrestling X number of dollars to bring their show to this arena. TNA Impact Wrestling doesn't draw that. They couldn't do it. Second of all,
if they could, they would be here.
Ring of Honor ran the Mannheim Ballroom. Whatever it is.
Manhattan Center?
Yeah, the Manhattan Center.
Hammerstein Ballroom?
They sold it out.
Oh, did TNA?
No, they did not.
Not the first night?
And
not
first
the second
of all,
night? Not the third night? Fourth night?
Ring of Honor is not in every TV market.
No.
It's what, 24, 28 markets?
56, I believe.
56. Okay. So they won't get 517,000 viewers.
Well, this person didn't, and this comment was made before last week's Impact ratings came out, but they went down to about 400,000 viewers.
So,
and I think that 517 included the replay of the show.
Just another example of someone that has no idea what they're talking about.
The fact is, nobody knows, except for Sinclair and Ring of Honor, how many people are watching Ring of Honor. But knowing what is known about this business is being on in television markets across this country, they are doing great numbers. We know what numbers they do here in Milwaukee, to be honest with you.
We see them every week.
Yeah, we don't know what the other stations are doing, but we do know wrestling and wrestling type content on broadcast television off of cable does extremely well in a lot of markets across the country. And matter of fact, Kevin Kelly was on Jim Ross's podcast earlier this week, and they were talking a bit about Ring of Honor's business. And it was important to hear him say that since they've moved to Sinclair, since they've been on these broadcast television stations, that every town they go to, attendance is up. They've expanded their touring production equipment. They've gone HD. The business is growing as Ring of Honor. So I will remain steadfast in my statement that Ring of Honor is currently the number 2 wrestling company in the country. However, we did make an exclusion to our options last time we were here that probably needs to be addressed. We didn't include NXT.
No, we did not.
And now they're touring nationally. And we'll have more information on that tomorrow night on primetime.
And that's going to change everything.
Did you watch NXT Rival last week on the WWE Network?
I haven't see it yet. I will be watching it.
Kevin Steen became the new NXT champion.
Yeah,
Kevin Owens became the new
Kevin Owens, KO.
NXT champion.
NXT, it's something, and it's gonna be a cleaner, healthier version of ECW when it tours.
Okay.
But again, I got to go back to that last one. The only reason why TNA Impact Wrestling tours the UK is because someone else pays for it, not because Panda Energy or TNA Impact Wrestling or Dixie Carter pays for it.
Let's be fair, though. Those fans do go to see the TNA product.
Yeah, because they're wrestling starved over there.
Yes.
WWE sells out every time they go, across the pond. Also,
pretty much.
They run bigger buildings, but yeah. See what you do? It's intentional.
No, I just wanted you to give a chance to prove to the audience that you were not out of touch.
No,
Mr.
I'm not,
President.
and that they're wrong.
Let's move on, and our next comment comes from Tom Huxley, who wants to talk about Brock Lesnar's title status. He says, and I quote, "I'm sick of Brock Lesnar being champion because he barely defends the title, and the WWE title should be defended at every pay-per-view. Because imagine what they did with Lesnar, have him go 4 months without defending the title. Imagine if they did that to every title and all of the champions and have them only show up every 4 months. How could you build a pay-per-view if no champions were there?"
They're doing it this month. They're doing it tomorrow.
They did it in December. They did it in October, I think.
Yeah, but they're doing it tomorrow. And you're having
Sunday.
And they're having 2 guys without belts headlining main eventing.
And which title is John Cena going after?
The U.S. title.
Which will make that title
far more relevant. But here's the thing. Why do you want to see Brock Lesnar? What's so funny?
Talking like Triple H now.
No, he took that from me.
Did he? Really?
I have been saying here's the thing far
Likely
longer.
story.
Here's the thing. Why do you want to see Brock Lesnar 1 month crush Dolph Ziggler? The next month, crush The Miz. Another month, I mean, just there's not enough main event guys.
Brock Lesnar is Christmas. You don't want Christmas every day.
Remember in the
every
now,
month.
of course, we're dating ourselves, but not like that. If you go back to the 80s, you never saw Hogan wrestle on television, or Savage wrestle on television, or Ric Flair wrestle. You would pay to go see the champion wrestle.
Remember when Flair came to WWE, regardless of whether or not the match happened at WrestleMania 8, because it didn't, Flair versus Hogan? Where did that match happen?
At the house shows.
Poughkeepsie,
Now,
New York.
Of course. Now,
Bangor, Maine.
Now, Brock Lesnar isn't doing house shows either.
Correct.
But now at WrestleMania, it's going to mean more.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for those comments, folks. We appreciate you to engage with us
For
in
most of the
your
comments,
commentary.
not all the comments.
Here on our YouTube channel and
people
on
are just
social media.
idiots.
At PWR Show on Twitter, at Damian Nelson on Twitter, at David Hero on Twitter as well. Tomorrow night, though, David Hero, it's a big night. The Pro Wrestling Report Primetime is back on the eve of WWE Fastlane, and we're going to have Be the Booker, obviously, for Fastlane, but we've also got a lot of discussion on NXT, including New Japan Pro Wrestling as well on Access TV, some big news coming out of there, and Ring of Honor, big show coming to Milwaukee on March 13th, and also big 13th anniversary show in Las Vegas on March 1st. In studio, sitting at this very desk, will be Tommaso Ciampa.
Well, he's not taking my spot, is he?
That's a great idea, David.
Why would you do that?
A whole segment without you? I might make it through the hour.
You're terrible.
No, I'm great. That's tomorrow, PWR Primetime Saturday night on My24 Milwaukee and on our YouTube channel, 10 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. So, folks, until then, oh, wait a minute. Hold up. Kevin Nash, also our guest tomorrow night.
Big sexy.
And, you know, we received another video from Abyss. You haven't answered him yet?
Another one?
Yeah. He wants you to fire me.
There's nothing to say. He knows I can't do that.
You can't just ignore it and hope he goes away. You got to figure something out.
I'll have to give him I'll call his brother Joseph.
It's tomorrow, a loaded
Joseph
edition of the
is
Pro
way
Wrestling
more
Report,
level-headed.
Primetime, DWHS, Diamond of the Ring, Top 5, Hot News, and more, all tomorrow night on Primetime. So until then, for that one, this is Damian Nelson saying thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow for Primetime Saturday night.